Hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy June 1st. Rabbit, rabbit. So let's just bring in that energy of newness and rebirth and renewal. That's for sure. Woo. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Well, I did a little Instagram this morning and then I went back. It was my therapy session this morning. So I had therapy this morning. If anybody wants to go watch it's my Instagram therapy. So when I can go walking in the park and and then I talk to Instagram, it's like talking out loud, but I'm talking to somebody. It's just really weird. But anyways, it helps. So and then I, was listening, to some of my teachers about astrology and getting a grip on the energies of what's happening. Now we know Pluto's going to come into play in a minute. Mercury, god of communication, is squaring Saturn. Structure. Here we go. But it is also the structure of breaking away. It's in Aquarius. It's breaking away from what is normal. Okay. And that's the thing. It's like breaking away from what is normal. And there's a lot of energy in home signs. The moon is at home, Venus is at home, Mars is at home. So a lot of at home energy. Neptune is at home, Saturn's at home. So we have all of this at home energy. And it's a resurgence, and it's somewhat, there's this subtile between energies that are coming up as well. And what feels you want to have, the moon is squaring over to, Mars and Jupiter. So we want to have things. And it's a loading up. Everything's in its first quadrant. So we have a lot in, Aries, Jupiter, and Taurus. So in this first half, it's like all of this, here we go. And it's emotional. It's coming up, and it's all about self-care, but it's taking action on the self-care to move to where you cannot be afraid. Whew, that's a big one. Move to where you're not to be afraid, to be honest with your emotions and your sensitivities. You got to be honest with them, but it will not win. You can look at your emotions. It's action time. This is action. This is doing. This is getting out. This is understand. Even though Mercury's at its slowest, and Mercury's just that little whip around dude. He just woo, 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 and he's slow right now, so he's not doing too much. And this is where what you want to change. What do you want to change? And you got to change it. You got to get in there. You got to do it. This is where you got to live in your truth. This new moon that we just had was with Aldebaran, and there's a reason why. I just love it when, you look at it and you're just like, this new moon, new beginnings, new starts is on Aldebaran. Well, what is Aldebaran? Aldebaran's Archangel Michael. What is Archangel Michael? He's a protector. What is he protecting you from? There's something there that you're being protected from, so you can go forward, so you can go do what you need to do. And this is where you got to live in it. It's your values and feel the life we want. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. And it's action, and know that the value that you have. So this is evolving to be where you need to be. And it's this higher energy. My dream I had last night, freaking weird. I have weird dreams sometimes. I think, I was going in to do a talk. And as I was going in to do a talk, I looked good, but I was in this dress, very form-fitting dress. And wanting to go do this talk to this very religious group. It was quite interesting why I was there. And I walk in and I'm like, I'm supposed to do a talk here, and they're like, yeah, we're expecting you, and everybody's getting ready, and I'm walking around and I'm thinking this is weird. I'm like, and then the first thing, for some reason, I needed a coffee or needed some kind of coffee, and they didn't have the coffee or they didn't have it, and I'm just like, okay, let me go get something. So I popped out and popped back in, as dreams do, but I had this weird coffee and it was a mushroom coffee. It was one of those weird mushroom coffees, but the mushroom coffee had these crystals over top, like a crystal dome over top of the packaging. It was quite cool. And so I put this out and I said, well, here's some, for us to all share. And there's quite a few people. And then I said to them, I said, okay, to find out what I could talk about and what I can't, because it was some kind of religious order, this place. So the thing is that I said in my dream, I said, can I talk about astrology? And everybody went, oh, no. And they ran out with their children and they took them. Our children can't hear this. And I'm like, well, I could change the subject. I don't have to really mention anything about astrology, but if you're that offended by it. And they were terrified. They were terrified to hear what astrology had to say. And I found that kind of weird. And I was trying to let them know. And, and as I started to talk, all I could tell them was that to have faith, the light is so strong and bright that you have to have faith right now. Your faith is what is going to propel you to get through everything. And as I stepped back from the craziness of doing this talk, I in my dream, I began to see the underhandedness that was there in this so-called religious strict group. And things would go missing. It's like they were stealing stuff, and there was a lot of different things going on, promiscuity and deceit, and all of these things were happening, and I was witnessing it. And I'm like, I'm trying to let them know that things are going to be good, yet they are so fearful of me talking about this light or this energy. They didn't want to have their children hear it. And I found that kind of weird when I woke up and stuff. Yeah. So that's my husband. Yeah, I found him. He's here. Yes.
You know why the child been getting soft? It has a big screw in it.
Oh. So. So, anyways, I love my husband. That dream, was talking about a lot of light, and in the dream I could see the light. I could see that energy, that it was like very fluorescent, beautiful, fulfilling light that was coming in. But it scared them. It scared them. And even somebody wanted to take me out for coffee afterwards. And the weirdest thing, we couldn't find coffee. So I think that was part of the nightmare of the whole thing, was that I could not find coffee in my dream. End of discussion. There was no coffee. And she took me, and I guess we're at a fountain of pop. And I'm like, I don't really drink pop. But there was no coffee in the dream. But that was like, oh my God. So this is where, when you're looking at the energies, and when I come back, now we're coming back into like this world out of my dream, that there is such great light. There is such energy. And when we look into the astrology, and I know sometimes it can feel very abstract when I'm talking, and it feels like a lot and it's overwhelming for people, but you can start to see where there's trends. You can start to see where, oh, this is a cycle. This is what happens when this is here. This is what happens when this is here. Oh, we're in this cycle right now. Oh, this one is ending. And this is where you start to really get to understand the craziness that's going on in the world. And you can start to sort of step into the doing and say, you know what? Yeah, all of that craziness and all of that, even in my own life. And yes, we're still human and we still have emotions. And it's like, but what is it that I want to step out and start doing? What do I want to start to create? And I could sit here and I can say, I don't know, I don't know. But the one big thing that I've always wanted to create is a spiritual community and have a strong community of people that come together to share their gifts and talents, whatever they are. From it could be from business to different forms of spirituality, to growing plants, to understanding computers and IT. So a community that is able to come together and grow. My idea, like when I think about the things I love to see, I love to be able to, not everybody can live in the country, but wouldn't it be really cool? Get me? I don't have any. Okay. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to purchase a complex? Let's say a complex or an old hotel or motel. Let's say an old motel, because motels have kitchenettes and stuff like that. Wouldn't it be cool to say, okay, we're going to purchase a motel place, and but we're going to transform it. That means in transforming it, we're going to dig up all the tarmac and everything else, and we're going to put gardens in there. We're going to have a centralized community center where people can use computers or learn how to use computers, and be able to connect with one another and new ideas and new ways of doing it. To have somebody who's maybe really good at understanding water systems and plumbing to come in and be a part of the community to help with the plumbing systems and the water systems and set them up, and set up a place where we can create a recycling a recycling, to do recycling, a place where we can bring in the energies, hook up to resources and things like that. Now, that's where my mind goes. That would be lovely. And anybody who wants to live there, there's a minimal cost to live there, but they also have to work within the community. They could work outside and have another job and do whatever, but they have to be a part of that community. Very similar to what a co-op is, like co-op housing, but more connected, more working. You have to be really a part and a working, um a part of the wheels, a part of of things to circulate and move. And that's what I see. That's what I see. In the UK, there was a group of women who were retired nurses, um, they're retired women. A couple of them were nurses, and what they did is that they pooled their money together and they bought an apartment complex. And the apartment complex was kind of run down, but what they did is that they pulled in other people that they may have known in the community to help to renovate it, to fix it up. And their goal was to help others who were retired, semi-retired, but could not afford to live where they're living, or they were living on their own and they were lonely. So they were able to bring in people so that they wouldn't be lonely, that there'd be somebody constantly looking in on them, everything would be fine. And very similar to a long-term care unit, or but it was a retirement unit, but they wanted to make it where the people still had their freedom, and if you needed help, the help was there, but to not to take away from anybody, not to take away from anybody. That's the thing. Is like, I know we have these systems out there, but somehow I feel like there's just something missing with them. They're so institutionalized, or so um not able, they're not connecting a community. That's what I keep on seeing, is like something to connect the community. And when I look more into into the astrology and my understanding of it, that's that's where the energy's going. I mean, that Saturn in Aquarius is wanting us to connect with community. Aquarius is about community, but allowing for that uniqueness to come in. And what does that uniqueness look like? And how can we connect with that uniqueness? It's like our lives are changing immensely. And I know some things are we're in many different cycles. So one of the cycles that we're in, it's a 13-year cycle. And it goes longer to 51 years. People who are 50, 51 right now, who are turning 50, 51, they're going through some really weird stuff and weird energies within their lives right now and trying to figure out connections. But the thing is that the connections aren't here in this world. The connections are not here. The connections are further from, it's connecting with your divine, it's connecting with your inner be, your intention, your intuition. And many who are like 50, 51, it's like, no, I just want to go ahead, I want to do what everybody else is doing and follow that group, follow, it's like I'm going to do this because they're looking in this world for the answers. And this world does not have the answers. And the reason the new moon was on Aldebaran was because, how there's been so many sightings of UFOs. But what's on the other side of the UFO? What's on that other side of that energy, those entities that are wanting to come in and destruct and destroy? And they're hitting a lot of those who are just looking for the answers, or those small minority groups that want to be heard. They want to be heard, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be seen. And that's not what it's about. It's not about being heard and seen. It's about living your life, but allowing for that bounty of your life to come forth fully into you, and trusting and having the faith the light is coming in and guiding you. Now, the other part of this too, because we had Jupiter. Jupiter is the inflator. He inflates everything. Whatever it is, good or bad, he inflates. He doesn't look at it. So when he met with Neptune, this makes things bigger. This makes things inflate. Now, remember, Neptune is ether. It's expansive. So whatever he touches, it's expanding. It either goes up or it goes down, right down. So if it was already going down, it's going to go down further. If it was going up, it's going to go up further. So this is about hyperinflation. So this is where we're coming into huge hyperinflation. We also had 1 year, this is 1 year after Jupiter met with Saturn, and they conjuncted in Capricorn. And what did they go through? Then Jupiter met up with his brother, Poseidon, Neptune. And this is where it's like, crazy energy. And then we have, a Saturn squaring Uranus, wanting to make changes. And this has to happen, Taurus and Aquarius, expanding energies, stabilization, need to be in the ground. So this is building up your life, your best life, but waiting for the collapse. A lot of people are waiting for the collapse before they want to start doing anything. Oh, I'll wait till everything else blows away. I'll wait till everything is, this is where it's like, no, it's like money markets right now are inflated. There's an inflammation, that they're going crazy. This is where it's bringing, it's by not bringing it down. And with people wanting or hoping for, well, we got to go this way. And that causes the suffering. Right? So here we are in this energy that is saying we really have to have faith and believe in our own light and into a higher power to continue on, so that we are not getting lost in that that tilt-a-whirl of energy that is going around us. And Pluto right now at 24 degrees, squaring Eris and this is where 24 degrees, this is where Saturn and Pluto met in 2020. They met there at 24 degrees. And when they met at 24 degrees, that's when the lockdowns happened. That's when in April of 2020, that's when things started locking down. Restrictions started coming in. Everything started going in, and then Jupiter came in to meet them at the same point and inflate it. What more restrictions can we place upon people? What more restrictions can we place to keep you in place? Right? So the more there was, the more inexpansive there was. Now, the other thing that too, and I mentioned this way back about flights, about airlines, all of that, because of Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules airlines, it rules the hospitality, Airbnb, things like that. And what we're going to be seeing, we're in this cycle, and especially with Jupiter meeting up with Pluto, we're in a cycle of 13 years. Because they meet up in about every 13 years in different signs. Now, Pluto met up with, in 2007, Pluto met up with Jupiter in Sagittarius on the galactic center. What? So from 2007 to 2020, what did we have? People were traveling, getting their passports. They were out doing things. They were going places. It was great, right? Things were just moving along. Airbnbs came up, new, hostels, new hospitalities, new tourism. We're all just spiking, boom, 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 all over the place. Now we're having 13 years of restriction. So what are the restrictions that are coming on? Do you think in Canada they're going to really lift the flight and stuff up? I don't think so. I really don't. Because we're in a 13-year restriction. So this 13 years of restrictions. So this is for us to work on your mission. You can get stuck in the control system, or you can step into and say, you know what? That's fine. I got a car. I'm going to drive. I got a bike. I'm going to, whatever you can control, and not giving the control out to somebody else. You got to come back into. And then we have this energy where Jupiter and Neptune met also in 1994 in Scorpio. Deeper truths, archaeology was just going crazy. New findings in that era. So we had this, new findings and everything. But if you were wanting to travel, it was a really big investment to go anywhere. Like you wanted to go on that tour. You wanted to go there. You saved up. You went. Travel was very, very expensive. So there's a higher divine duty that's coming in that is wanting us to ignite, wanting us to begin to come together. Now, that Jupiter and Pluto is kind of crazy. And with Jupiter coming in, and now he's, with he just did a conjunction with Mars. What is he inflating? What is coming up? What are we hearing? What does Aries represent? We're hearing more and more about war, about more about inflation, more about gas prices. These things are inflated. These things are getting higher and higher and higher. That's what's happening right now. And so we're in this. This is like where I'm going to say this is the worst time to travel, because Capricorn is restrictions. You can look at right now over the Memorial Long Weekend, how many flights were canceled. They're having problems with airline pilots. Anybody getting in to to fly the planes. They don't have the pilots. So we have, again, because some of the pilots were restricted. They changed laws. And this isn't only in the United States, but it's in Canada as well. In 2020, we bailed out the airlines. So we're going to see airlines really getting smaller, streamlining, and it's going to be very where you got to have money to be able to travel. Travel is not going to be a thing to jump on a plane. God doesn't want you flying. So there's going to be some restrictions, so airline shortages. And we're going to see, crazy things happening with airlines, or there's not going to be, as many airlines around. Delays, discouraging with pilots. Right now, pilots, they changed, they have to have 1,500 hours, which costs a lot of money for them to get their license. 10,000 pilots quit, many over because of the shot. Many who got the shot were, they died because of flying, either through heart attack or blood clots. They were unable to fly. So not enough fuel. Also, where are the planes getting the fuel? So this is 13 years. There's going to be some fatal flights. This is 13 years since the last real like crazy fatal flight was about 13 years ago. So we're going to have canceled flights over the next while. They started warning people back in March and April about flights being canceled and things. So this is where these things are going to be happening all over the world. And Pluto and Jupiter is going to overinflate it. That's what they started to do. They started to overinflate things. They started to, make things, go a little bit crazy. And Mars is squaring the 24, 22 degree parts of Capricorn. So it's just going to get crazier with restrictions coming down, where people are going to be doing less travel. Even, gas prices just went up again. And we're going to be seeing a lot. And Chiron coming in at 24 in the next, couple years. So there's a lot to do with, pilots and pilots on planes. With the war coming, they need the pilots to fly the planes. And they cut the pipelines and drilling, so there's a shortage in fuel. So that's coming in with that shortages. So what are we shorting? We don't have fuel. Now again, what's the energy saying? That's a tilt-a-whirl of crazy. How can I create something else? How can I create in going forward? If you're getting stuck in something and you're not liking it, like a job, and you're just doing it, well, I got to pay the bills, I just got to do this, you're going to find that you're going to be feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, your body aching. Hey, I've just been working at this job for 2 weeks and I took it to pay the bills. But my body, oh my goodness. I know I'm a chubby little woman, but my knees, it's my body ain't liking this. So we'll see. So this energy that's coming in is really, when I look at the astrology, this is based on the astrology on what happened. In 1955, Pluto and Jupiter met on the star of Regulus. What was flying like in 1955, in the 50s? You saw, like, when you flew, it was a big thing. You got on the plane, you're going places. People took pictures of you. It was kind of like, when people went on a big cruise across the Atlantic, everybody's waving and they're taking pictures of people. So this was, a time of great exploration and flight and movement and going places. Yeah, it was great. And now, this is where, airlines treated you like a king and a queen. Everybody who came on, and anybody could be first class. Everybody was going on the planes, air travel. And now, this is where, as with Leo wants you to feel special. Capricorn ended that. Because the thing is that this was another time that Jupiter and Pluto, and including Saturn, met 3 times. They've never done that. They don't do that very often. We're not going to see them meeting again for 3 times, not until 2104. somewhere around there. So we're in this time of great change and innovation. And this is where we're going to be seeing that this is the beginning and the ending. This is the beginning of something great and the ending of things that are no longer in our alignment. And the frustration and confusion and the overwhelmness is there for us all. And we're looking for to hang on. And I think, when I go back to my dream, I mentioned 2020 and everybody was like, oh, yes. And I kept on saying in my dream, is we're never going back to that. That is done. It is over. We're moving on to a new road, a new way of living, a new destiny. And as we are moving forward into this new destiny, this new world, we are frustrated. We are overwhelmed. This is where things are slimming down. From in 2008, cars slimmed down, where car manufacturers started to eliminate different vehicles, right? Different names of vehicles. This is where we're going to see, like the Airbnb, there might be making, because right now everybody's like, oh, let's get out there. But it's not going to last because right now the airlines are going to take your money, definitely, but there's going to be a lot of cancellations. So with the cancellations, there's going to be a lot where difficult to get your money back. So flying is going to be crazy. So trying to get a flight, trying to make sure you get on the flight, you might get to the airport and everything else, but the flight is not there. Like, I'm sorry, it's canceled. Well, how am I have to get home. Nothing we can do about it. So this is where, and plus, with all the bailouts, where's the money coming out? The money's not going to go bail out the airlines. The money is going into other things. And we all know what they are. So this is where, and this is all based off of the astrology, where, hospitality travel is all Sagittarius. We're going to see a huge change in hospitality and travel. People are not going to be traveling. People are not going to be paying for, high hotel bills unless you are the 1%ers. You are the elitist. Then you're going to pay for, it's whatever. This is part of that division. The one word I keep on hearing a lot is the serfs and what a serf was. And what that meant to be one or to be a free man. And there's pros and cons to it all, right? It's really crazy when you look into it. And of course there wasn't an uprising until after the plague in the 1300s. But anyways, but this is where our solution is to follow our higher self. And in following our higher self, in following that's going to bring us great creativity. And I know a lot of you are going to say to me, well, I fly to Mexico. I fly here. Okay, I'm not saying people are not going to fly, but you're going to find it a lot more difficult. It's going to get more. We're only 2 years in. And it's going to get crazier. Right now today I was just talking to one of the moms in Mateus's class, and she has to go to Red Deer to get her passport for herself and her children because they're going on a trip. And I said, well, you make sure I said, make sure your plane, your airline isn't canceled. But yeah, so to get your passports, to get anything from the government, there's going to be so much red tape where you won't be able to just get it in a snap like you used to. Like prior to this, I mean, my kids just went down, picked up their passports, bang, they got it. So this Pluto is desperately looking for, and it's when right now it is in this opposition to Eros, and this Eros energy is coming in, and Eros is it's in a I say it's not an opposition, but it's in a Ceci quadrant to Eros, to Pluto. And this is where we're looking for connection, passion, sexuality, physical, right? And the sun is right there with arrows in the Sessi squat quadrant, and can't go on a connection line like plumbing. Like you just can't just go. You got to figure out your way on getting that connection. And sometimes in finding that, you got to trust. You got to trust in yourself and in the light and going to your higher self and not following the sheep, not following where everybody else is going. And this is, for us, keep trying our rational earthly ways. You can keep trying your rational earthly ways, but you got to be on guard. You got to be on guard because outside, we have what's outside there's this weird energy that's wanting to come in, this weird energy that's wanting to come in and take over. And that's with, people wanting to do their, regular ways. I'm going to do it this way. We've always done it this way. This is how we're doing it. Instead of saying, hey, how else can we do this? What else can we do? What is another direction we can go into? And that is where, you know when you're going by the earthly ways, it's guaranteed way for the dark, the earth, to seduce you into figuring out your problems, because there is no earthly solution. The only solution to do is what you wouldn't normally do. And with Chiron in Aries, it's stopping the suffering. It's wanting to stop the suffering, but you're holding yourself back. Things you don't want in your life, like what don't you want? And that you won't take the confidence for that. You won't take the action for it. And we have with Saturn in Aquarius, it's learning to break the rules of society. That's what Aquarius does. It breaks the rules, right? And understand that you have to rebel in life, not normal. It's not to go the normal route, to be the normal. It is to be the trendsetter and go forth and do it the way that you know is right for you, and not follow the sheep, not to be trendy, not focus on the suffering. Focus on, yeah, this is where we're going to go. And that's where it's at. And it's like so difficult, and for myself, it's like, will I be able to board a plane again? I don't know. Probably not. you know Saturn does rule ships, but I'm not very good at sailing, going on the ocean. But I might have to take a slow boat down to Mexico, or a slow boat down somewhere to South America, and then drive, and then take another boat up and go to the Caribbean or something like that. Oh, what an adventure that would be, right? Oh boy. But that's where we're heading. We're heading into some really um new waters. And with all of this the hyperinflation that's coming in, and we are going to be seeing more of that happening. um I feel like energetically on the earthly ground, yeah, it's heading into we're heading into a depression. And with that depression, we're heading into a um for people to look at a new way of living, a new way of connecting. And that's going to be very important. But I just keep seeing people, like they're traveling, but they're not traveling um by plane. It's like the pilgrims, or when you had to go somewhere, you hopped in your car and you went to that next area, or you went to wherever you needed to go. And it was, you either traveled by foot, or you traveled by, you know, um, car. And that's a lot of what, like the energies, and even with the astrology in my, I feel and I see. I was watching a show on pilgrims traveling, and when a pilgrim or a person traveled in the medieval times, what they would do is that they would go to the village. So they'd leave wherever they were and they'd go to the village, and then they'd ask anybody in the village, um, I need to find the road to London, or I need to find the road to whatever. And they say, well, if you go to here, they'll take you to this town. So they'd follow that road. And there wasn't no set roads. I mean, after the Romans left, nobody was keeping up the roads anymore, right? Because everybody sort of stayed where they were and they weren't really moving as much. So the roads were sort of less traveled, shall we say. And you would go from town to town, and each town would set you on the direction. You would stop in at the local pub or the local eatery, whatever it was, and they would give you the directions to the next place. And I feel like that's where the hermit card comes in, where you have to trust in the direction that you're being led into. And it's not, you're not going to see the full road or the full direction at this time. You just have to trust in the road that you're on, that it's going to lead you to somewhere better. It's going to lead you to somewhere where you are able to find the connections that you need in your life. So, and trusting in God, and trusting in having that faith in the God and the goddess, that they're going to direct you upon your road. There we go. Whew. And that's happening all this week. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I only have a little bit of coffee left. I think I need coffee. Not unlike my dream that didn't have coffee. That was just a nightmare in itself. So, I am doing readings, but I'm reevaluating a lot of things with my readings because I want to give people more um, in what they do. Buckle up. Yeah, Raylene, buckle up, baby. And give people more, help them a lot more. So give them a lot more of the guidance that within uh, doing readings and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm still doing readings. So we're still doing that. The next meditation, I'm doing June's meditation. So we're doing the June meditation, and it is going to be a ritual, like a cacao ceremony ritual, twice a week, 3 times a week. It's going to alternate from week to week. And just connecting with people in the morning and setting your intention for the day, setting your intention within that ceremony, and doing some journaling time. So it's going to be about 30 minutes approximately. I'm going to try not to talk and get right into it. So if you're wishing to join me, it starts next week. And we will start the cacao ceremony next week if you are wanting to join me, doing it 2 to 3 times a week. And then July and August, I will not have meditations. I'm taking July and August off and going from there. So, yeah, so buckle up, people. We'll see what unfolds in the coming months and the coming weeks. I'm still going to be here. But I'm going to be doing more readings, doing some more readings, and I might be doing some impromptu readings too. So I'm looking at doing some impromptu where I will let you know tomorrow I'm going to be in Riley Park, and I'm going to be sitting at a picnic table if you want to come and join me for lunch, and I'll give you a reading for $25 or something. So I'm going to be doing some impromptu travel readings. Just going to go sit. If you want to join, you join. If you don't, you don't. Things like that. So I want to do a little bit more of that during the summer and have fun. That's, really sit around and have fun. I'm not sure how long I'll stay at this job. God bless them. Um, it's just 5 o'clock in the morning. I am not a 5 o'clock in the morning girl anymore. I can honestly say that. I'm a 5 o'clock in the morning girl if I'm at home having my cup of coffee and meeting with people online, you know. But I'm not a 5 o'clock in the morning kind of girl that has to get up, get dressed, and get to work. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot, you know. And God bless the people that are doing it. So I'll do it for now, right now. But I my but that's not where my energy is, and I know that. I know that my energy is doing spiritual work, and however that formats, right? So, and you never know, I might be building an underground, and I shouldn't even say that online, so I won't even say that. Short term solution, right, Raylene? Short-term solution, and it's it is what it is, kind of thing. So right now I'm heading downstairs to haul out a whole bunch more shit, and from my basement, and go from there. So I'm gonna haul up and bring up what I need to bring up, and go through and take what I need to take to either donations, or I'm going to be selling on my witchy garage sale. We'll see how that turns out. So, you know, but I mean, also, watch it, because people are going to be gossiping a lot right now too. So watch the gossiping, and watch the people are going to be changing their minds, things changing their minds. So don't get pissy because people are changing their minds and stuff. So that's just all part of the energy right now. So things are going to be changing, evolving, moving, and you just have to go with it, because we're all doing it. We're all doing it. We're all doing the mind change things, um, and going from there. So yeah, so onwards and upwards, my love. Thank you all for joining me, and thank you for those who pop in and out and stuff. Like, oh, what did she say? And they're gone. I know I went a little long today, but yeah, it is what it is. I won't be on tomorrow. I'm working at 5 a.m. I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days in a row at 5. So we'll see what I look like on Tuesday. Like, I'm going to be a fucking wreck, I can tell you that. Because that's just not where yeah. Anyways, thank God. I'm very thankful for what I have. I'm very blessed. So, sending you out so much energy and so much love. May the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless you, and all that you say, and all that you be, and all that you do. Part of my community, and my support system. Blessed be everybody. Bye bye.